So you guys just want to stay single, right? Because why else would you stop approaching women in public entirely?
The guys just want to stay out of jail. And if that means that they can't approach women anymore and that they're more likely to be single unless they're online and trying to go through that mess, then yeah, they're gonna just be single.
Let's talk about the good man who just got out of a toxic relationship. He got so burnt that he decided to stay single. It's not that he lacks options, he just values his peace. He knows it will take a very special woman, a woman who adds peace, for him to even consider another relationship.
Things that guys do that are for girls only.
A little ironic, isn't it, that some women seem to think gender roles are perfectly acceptable as long as they're gatekeeping things that are only for the girls.
Complaining about how much things cost.
Well, considering most women think that guys should pay for everything involving dates, they absolutely have every right to complain if something is too expensive in their opinion.
'Cause what do you mean? Oh my gosh, this steak costs $60.
I would have to agree. I would say that $60 for a steak is a bit exorbitant, but how are they going to try to twist this?
Buddy, do you have an idea of how much the foundation on my face costs?
No. Women wear makeup for themselves, remember? So whose fault is it anyway that someone paid that much money to look a certain way, just for themselves?
Get your wallet out and pay the bill!
How elegant some women are. Can't imagine why so many guys are choosing to remain single.
So you guys just want to stay single, right?
True. A lot of gentlemen out there would honestly rather stay single.
Because why else would you stop approaching women in public entirely?
Other than the reason that a lot of women have told men to leave them alone, they don't want them in their lives and they don't need them, quite frankly, a lot of women's personalities really aren't conducive to an actual conversation, let alone a relationship.
Because I feel like back in the day, like early 2000s, maybe the 90s, it was so common for men to walk up to women and, start a little conversation. Nowadays, that does not seem to happen anymore.
There's a lot of men out there have woken up and seen what some women out there are really like. So, frankly, most of them would rather stay single than risk being with some of the types of women that they see every day on social media.
So tell me, why is it that you guys would rather just die alone?
Because a lot of men have realized that it's not only easier, but it's much more peaceful being single. And not only that, but a lot of men have woken up to the fact that they have self-respect, and they don't need to be in a relationship to be considered a complete person.
I work in real estate, and people ask me how the market is all the time. Well, this is the dating market in New York City, in which I think could be extrapolated nationwide, specifically for men in their 30s and 40s, where the podcast for the New York Times did a dating event of some sort, singles event, and women had to pay $100 to go, but men had to pay $0, meaning they could just show up and see a bunch of women, and it was still a 3-to-1 women to men ratio. And you have to question, well, why do you think that is? And I guarantee the men who did show up, probably a vast majority of all those women there still weren't interested. That's why men aren't showing up, because there's nothing they can do to satisfy what's available in the dating pool. Even if they're successful, put together, the expectations are just too high, so men would rather just sit at home at peace on a Saturday night than deal with this bullshit.
Finally, women are finally holding other women accountable. Tell me what y'all think about this post by my girl and your girl, Keisha. Keisha says, men nowadays are choosing to be single because ain't no man alive trying to deal with a masculine, disrespectful, lazy woman. Y'all talk crazy, can't cook, don't clean, argue, and do the bare minimum, but expect a man to pay all the bills, and baby, you F out of here. Drop a comment. Y'all got to let me know how y'all feel about this post. Shout out to my girl Keisha for dropping this jewel. Finally.
A lot of men are opting to stay single versus dealing with these women. And I don't blame them. I really don't blame them. Because realistically speaking, you're spending significantly more time, money, effort, and resources to attract women that are half as good. You're paying double the price for a more used asset, bro. I'm I'm gonna go to the Mercedes dealership and spend $250,000 for a G-Wagon, but the G-Wagon has been wagging and that shit's at 100,000 miles? Nah, bro. He's done getting BBLs, thinking that brings the mileage back. No, it doesn't. But they try to tell you, oh, new body, new me. Out of here. That is the new sexual marketplace. That is modern women for you.
So men today aren't single because they can't get into relationships. A lot of men are consciously choosing not to be in one. And the reasons aren't what you think. For most of history, relationships were economic survival, right? Men provided, women depended, marriage created stability. But in countries like Australia and the US, that structure has now changed. So women can earn, women own property, women build independent lives, which means men are no longer automatically needed in the traditional provider role. So relationships aren't about survival anymore. They're about emotional value. And when something becomes optional instead of necessary, people start evaluating it differently. So if a man's life is peaceful, financially stable, socially full, he's not entering into a relationship because he has to. He's asking instead, does this improve my life? And this is just the first reason, right? In part 2, I'm going to talk about the risk equation. Why some men see modern relationships as high exposure.
Single men of TikTok, listen up, because I do have some helpful, hopefully, advice when it comes to approaching women in the wild, because I have a very strong opinion about this. Every time I post something on social media about being single at 30 years old, I'm like volunteering as tribute to take the brunt of all of the toxic masculinity. Either get comments from guys like basically telling me, yeah, I'm too old, like saying really mean things that are just for the sake of like, you know, trying to hurt my feelings. You're not going to be able to, sorry. Guys will also kind of say like, yeah, it sucks out here. Like, we don't want to approach women. Like, they're just afraid of being rejected. A lot of that's amplified by social media. Someone will come on this app and make a video and be like, he did insert like the most normal but like random thing ever. Like, I saw him like sneeze into his arm or something and I got the ick. Oh, yeah, I get it. It's a struggle. If it were me, I think that it's still totally fine and preferred for guys to approach women in the wild. Guys just have to be smarter about it, okay? So I'm gonna tell you, yes, guys should still very much be approaching women in the wild. I think there's nothing more attractive than a guy like being confident enough to approach a woman in the wild. The thing that a lot of guys get wrong is like they need to read the room and like interpret body language. If I'm at the gym and locked in the middle of my workout, I'm sweating, I'm like hyperventilating, like don't fucking come up to me. I don't want my workout to be interrupted. If it's Sunday morning and I'm at the grocery store, I'm in like sweatpants and like no makeup, I'm like literally visibly struggling and probably like hungover, don't approach me. I'm just gonna be pissed off. I actually think men should bring back having like a business card, which I know not as many people carry like actual business cards with them today. Just leave me with your business card with your number on it and be like, I'd love to take you out to coffee sometime. No pressure, but if you're interested, here's my number or here's my information, give me a call. That way, he's not asking me for my number. Like, that's the worst, because then you're like, oh, this is so inconvenient. I don't want to give him my number, but I also don't want to be rude. And then now I'm resenting you for putting me in this uncomfortable situation. And that's what you want to avoid. So I feel like if you leave your card with her and just be like, I'd love to take you out, here's my info, put the ball in her court. That's the best of both worlds. And make sure that your business card is nice, okay? Thick card stock. Make it look expensive. Make it look like you're important. Leave her with your card, walk away, enjoy the rest of your night, and like you just upped your odds of hearing from her by like 50 million%.
Most of my guy friends are single right now, and this is why. Talking about my friends, they're hustlers. And so in their mind, they're thinking not only would a girl be kind of a distraction right now, but the girl that they could get right now is nowhere near as good as the one that they could get in 5 years, when they're richer, when they're more successful, when they're more established.
First of all, it's really easy to say that you don't want a relationship when a woman doesn't want a relationship with you. Women have collectively decided to raise their standards, and the truth is a lot of men these days don't meet those standards. A man being able to only pay the light bill is not going to cut it. Women want financial stability. This isn't new. Y'all try to act like it's new, but it's not. Back in the days when women didn't have bank accounts, didn't have jobs, they did select partners who could financially provide for them and their future children. Stop acting like women these days are so new and what's wrong with them and this is so revolutionary and these are modern women. Women have always expected a man to provide. You're modern because you expect a woman to split bills with you, and no woman in history has ever been asked that. And then with this bootleg vague threat, like, you guys are going to want us in 5 to 10 years. We're going to be the ones with the money, and you're going to wish you hadn't hated on us when we were in our 20s. You're getting princess treatment. You're getting flown out. You're getting spoiled by these men who have money right now. And when we get the money, we're not going to want you. Those women don't care. The reason why there's so many single men out there is because we are asking you to be better, and some of these men are refusing to. You're digging in your heels, you're being stubborn, and you're going to stay single until you change. Women are evolving. Evolve with us or get left.
Well, that's what he said. He is changing. He said, I think we're just going to stay where we are right now so that in 5 years, when I get through doing what I'm doing, when we get through hustling and grinding, then the women that we want, that we actually want, they're going to be there, right? We're investing now. Once again, he just kind of proved his point. A lot of times men are investors. They invest in things. They invest in their family, specifically invest in my home, things to create a legacy. And once again, the woman is included in that legacy. I know y'all don't like to hear the word legacy. Woman is included in that. And so when he invests in all of this stuff now, and it comes to fruition in 4 or 5 years or however long it does, now women are saying, ooh, I like that investment. Where can I get in? I want to be an investor. Where do I sign up? And now a man can say, okay, you guys got to understand, y'all are limited in your thinking, because a lot of y'all are buying high. And so that's why you get raked over the coals. That's what Chad and Tyrone are doing to you guys. Chad and Tyrone are the product of you buying high. Chad and Tyrone know they have a good product. They've specifically built the product. They know that they've taken the inventory and the information from men and women on how to be somebody that gets women. And so now they go through and synthesize all that data for themselves, apply it to their lives. Over the course of what? A couple of years, they become the person that y'all want. And then y'all just get smashed left and right. Oh, it wasn't me. Your friend is coming out of his hotel room right now. So it doesn't need to be you. He doesn't need, he doesn't need 100%. He doesn't need 100% batting average. Most good people in baseball don't. He doesn't at all. 300 or 400 would be just fine. That would be just fine. Get a 500 batting average, which is what a lot of these Chads and Tyrones are getting. 500. I'm great. Fantastic. And the women are going to continue to flock to him. Period. End of story. And so when y'all get raked over the coals and snatched over here and thrown over there, why won't men commit? Why are men choosing to stay single? How come men they won't pay attention to us? They won't give us the ring. Try to tell you, you thought you was really doing something by proving a point or something like that, or whatever you thought. Y'all are getting in the game too late. And a man is saying, okay, since you want to get in at this level, it's going to cost you a little bit more. That's how the market works.
Okay, so this is probably unpopular opinion. Not probably. I'm sure it's unpopular opinion, and I might get some flack for this, but I see all these guys posting how they're in their early 30s, mid-30s, and they have no kids, they have a good job, and they're treating that as a flex to, like, shit on other people. Like, look at me, I'm a good candidate to be husband material or whatever. In my opinion, if you are single in your mid-30s and you don't have any kids and like whatever, that just tells me that you have commitment issues. That tells me that you chose to party for most of your adult life, that you most likely sleep around a lot. And you can just kind of tell by the guys that are posting this, right? They're trying to do it as a flex. So look at all these girls, they've all been ran through, they have kids, they, you know, blah, blah, like whatever. To me, that shows that a girl can commit, or a person or whoever, and that they chose not to party, that they chose to settle down because they wanted to have a family, and it doesn't always work out, which is why a lot of us, myself, are in our 30s and now we're single and we have kids.
Full-blown coping mechanism. Coping mechanism. Men are not on your timeline. They're not on your timeline.
Do you think you'll go your whole life being single? Or you'll think
I am a lover boy. I'm always in a relationship. I'm purposely being single. if I wanted to seriously pursue somebody in terms and like get in a relationship, I can make that happen. I choose not
But you're
to.
forcing it.
Huh? Yeah,
Then you're forcing it.
Not necessarily forcing it, but letting my guard down. Like I got my guard up on purpose. I can let my guard down and let myself fall deeply in love and get in a relationship, have kids and get married and shit. I just don't want to do that right now.
Yes, 58, 59.
I'm in my healing era.
And really what he's talking about, this dynamic, this is what happens in relationships. People can choose whether they want to be in love or not. I can see that you're the right person. I can see that it's the right time. I can see that any issues that we have, we can work on. We can solve the issue. A lot of times, if you look at relationships today, modern women, this is what men say, they don't want to lower their standards. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be in a relationship with this, and this. I don't want to have this happening. When really a lot of the standards are nonsense. A lot of the things that you're looking for are nonsense. And a coach would tell you, you're doing great, but if you just take these and put them over there and just focus on what actually matters, let's see how you do. And modern women, they don't care about that.
Men don't marry the love of their lives. That's something women do. Men marry the woman that is there when he is ready.
That's what we like to call the taxi light theory. Like a taxi, if a man's leg's off, aka he is not ready, then he's going to pass by the love of his life, the woman of his dreams, all of these people. But until he is ready, until his light is on, he will not accept a passenger. And sometimes that passenger is the first person that walks outside and hails a cab. So he will quite literally take whoever gets in. And so when you see these exes of yours and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe he ended up with her. It's like, yeah, she is probably a lower quality, lesser quality woman than you, but she was there. She was just the first person that fell in his lap when he decided he was ready.
So you guys are thinking that men are feeling around in the dark. They're shooting with their eyes closed. And that's not really that. A man is looking. So basically, say for instance, he has the woman that he liked, that he had something with, maybe a few years ago or maybe even a few months ago. He says, because they're talking, or he's doing a self-assessment, he says, okay, you want this. I can't have that. Can you wait till I get that? No, I'm not going to wait. Well, we can't come to some sort of agreement on that, because I could try to work harder, but I'm still not going to be ready for what you want on your timeline. So we're missing the timelines there. So then he goes on about his business, because we have different timelines and we have different things we're trying to accomplish. So now at that point, when he accumulates those things, he might try to say, hey, are you still interested? No, I've moved on, or no, I have a family, or no, just for whatever reason, I'm not interested. He says, okay, well, I still got to eat, right? Or I still want a wife. So let me go see who else is available. And because now he's done that work, and he's basically made himself ready, it seems like he's rushing to do things. And it seems like, oh, well, you're picking the first girl. Did you ever think that maybe it's because he now says, well, I'm not looking for this one, I'm not looking for that one. He might be looking through his phone or going to a singles event or whatever it might be. And he's looking from afar and he's observing, oh, she has the characteristics that I want. Okay. I'm going to go text her. I'm going to go talk to her. I'm going to go text her. I'm going to try to take her out. And it works because I'm ready. She's ready. We're in the same mindset. Let's do it. Let's do it. And that's it. Well, you picked the first girl. No. I looked at the woman and I said, I've got 1 to 2 bullets. Okay. To use an example, to use an analogy, I've got 1 to 2 bullets. And it just took me 1. Well, actually, honestly and truly, I had a full clip. Let's say, well, a lot of these have 8. 8 bullets. I have 8, right? But I don't want to use all 8. I want to be efficient. The guy has gotten more efficient in his time away, right? He's practiced. And then the commentator, oh, well, man, wow, slowly, like say for instance, you talk about basketball, man, slowly over these past few months, he's been stepping up and he's really been doing this. What is it that you've been doing that's caused you to increase your efficiency and your output? I just practice. I just shoot the same shot over and over again until I get good at it, until I can do it in my sleep over and over again. That's something that my dad used to tell me. Just sit there. If you're playing basketball, you just dribble with one hand, switch to the other hand, just dribble over and over again. Over and over again. Oh, that's all you're doing? Pretty much. There's drills that you can do, but essentially what it is these men love basketball. There's nothing that they would rather be doing than playing basketball. That's all I want to do. I want to play basketball. So naturally, when I have the passion to do it, I just do it all the time because I love doing it. And a lot of these men, hey man, I love doing this, and I just continue to do it. And so I get better. I find something that I'm good at. I find something that I can make money with, and I just do it all the time. And so I get better. And so I develop as a person. I become more efficient as a person. Not perfect, but more efficient. A lot better. And so the next woman that I meet is of a lot better quality. And she's more inclined to accept my offer because we're probably going in the same direction. Because we're both looking for something and we're looking intentionally, right? It's not really a shot in the dark.
Men don't marry the love of their life. That's something that women do. Men marry the woman who's there when he's ready. One of the biggest differences between men and women is how we operate. Women live in the realm of emotion, the storytelling, the feeling, the fantasy of connection. Men live in the realm of logic, reason, direction, and long-term strategy. A woman meets a man, and as long as it feels right, she is all in. She builds the story in her head, assumes it's forever, and moves with her emotion. Men don't work like that because men, real masculine men, are wired to provide. And despite what the 50-50 culture tries to sell you today, that instinct hasn't gone anywhere. Feminism might tell women to do it all, but a man knows that deep down, his role is to lead, protect, and provide stability. He will not fully commit until he is ready for the weight of that. Financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically, everything. He has to know if shit hits the fan, I've got this. You could be the most incredible woman he has ever loved. He could adore you. But if he's 24, 26, hell, even under 30, his nervous system might not be ready for that lifelong responsibility. When a man commits, he's not just choosing you. He is choosing to be responsible for you, for himself, and for the family that comes with it. That's why men don't marry the love of their life. They marry the woman who is in alignment with their mission and when they are ready. The woman who fits the life that he is building, not the one who only fits his feelings or when it's beneficial for him.
This right here is what the modern day feminism has done to the family unit. This feminist movement has completely destroyed the value of a beautiful woman. We're in a world where when men call women beautiful, they're called simps. When a woman actually speaks truth and has half a brain, she's called a pick-me. It's just what a time to be alive. It used to be all the good ones are taken, but now it is all the good ones are single at home and not playing the game anymore. Marriage used to be a covenant made before God, a unity between two people becoming one person. And now it's just a business contract. It's a way to step up in the world. And there's too many women out here, beautiful women, and the prettier we are, the more feminist they seem to be. But a lot of men don't even want to take the time to get to know a beautiful woman. They won't even approach her because they think that she's going to be a stuck-up biatch, Too many women out here have used men as a meal ticket and using men for their money and their status. And those same women also want to be treated like queens. And a man will call her beautiful, and she'll be like, that entitled feminist attitude of, yeah, well, of course I am. It's disgusting. And those types of women don't deserve to be treated like queens. They deserve to be treated like peasants because they're out there just using people. There's men out here that are just using women to get what they want, and then they discard them. They go on social media, they go on dating websites, and they just use them like they're toys. And so women, we have our walls built up so high that God himself can't get over them. And our modern day culture has, at least in the Western culture in the States, I don't know what's happening in other countries, but here in America, you know, we've completely forgotten what marriage is all about and what a beautiful woman can bring, the value of having a woman behind you and supporting you and loving you, because too many women are out here breathing in this toxicity on social media. And if I'm the only person that's bringing in a different perspective, if I'm the only person today that can snap you back into reality, then all of this will be worth it. But I'm just making these videos to bring a different perspective, because there's just this ocean of toxicities, of misinformation swimming around, and self-entitlement. We're in a time of this narcissistic attitude. We all have it. It's just like, it's all about me and what makes me happy, and me. And however, that's good. It's good to care about yourself and love yourself and take care of yourself and self-love and all that stuff. You know, that's very important. But at the same time, we can't sit there and hate men. You know, being a white male in 2023, God bless them, man. They can't win. And the irony of all this coming from somebody with a website, you know, people have already tried to discredit my voice because I have a website, but I don't know, we'll get there another day. I don't hold my value in my sex appeal and my body. That's just, this is my vessel and this is what I occupy. But, and it makes me some money, so that's cool. But I don't know. I don't think I'm that great. I think I'm like a 6, a solid 7 on a good day. But what am I talking about? Anyway, yeah, the irony of this coming from all this stuff, marriage stuff coming from someone like me is really funny. But I think I have a valuable perspective and a good hold of reality. So yeah, if I'm just the only person today telling you something different, then so be it. But if you're married and you're here on my page, I just encourage you to protect that. And you've got something special, and protect it, because this modern day is trying to destroy the families, and it's more lucrative for our society to divorce and to break up families. So just keep that in mind and protect what you have. If you're single and you're on my page, stay strong, stay healthy, and don't be just protect your heart, and don't let just anybody break your heart, because you got to save that for someone special. I gotta believe, I can't lose hope, and I have to believe that there is a man out there, and I pray for him daily. But if there's got to be a man out there that thinks the way that I do and holds value in marriage the way that I do. If I think it, then I know it's out there. And people will tell me like, oh, good luck, you're looking for perfection. Ain't nobody looking for perfection out here, but if the shoe fits, I'll wear it. But I'm looking for somebody with the same morals and values as me. And unfortunately, it used to be a good thing, but unfortunately, I was raised on very traditional old school values. I come from a Southern Baptist family, so I just don't really fit in around here. I don't know. Anyway, I could talk about this for days and days, and so I just got to wrap it up here. But I just want to encourage you, protect your heart. Everything we do flows from it. And if you're married out there, just protect what you have. Protect your love, because there are people out here that want to destroy it. Misery loves company, huh? Anyway, stay healthy out there.
Men don't want to marry anymore because the risk outweighs the benefits. There's a risk that comes with marriage that essentially only benefits a woman. A man marries you and can only hope that one day you don't wake up and say, I feel like I don't love you anymore and I want to leave, and you can't do anything about it. According to ASA, 70 to 80% of divorces are initiated by women. Among college-educated women, it jumps to 90%. You know what's crazy? I mean, a lot of us women don't have anything a man actually wants that we can bring to the table.
Question for the men that say they never want to get married, which I totally get your reasoning. You don't want to get divorced and give up half your shit that you've worked your whole life for. Check, check. Got it. So my question is, for those men, do you live in a state that after 7 years of being in a relationship with someone, dating them, living together, you are married by law anyways? And then a two-part to that is, what about when you don't want to move into your girl's place? So you're like, hey, move into my place, right? So maybe she's renting her house out now and she has to move all of her stuff out, but you don't need it at your house because your house is already fully furnished. What is she supposed to do with her stuff? Because in your mind, if you get divorced, or I guess if you never get married, you guys break up, she would then have to then go rebuild, go rebuy all of the furniture. And as you know, it's always going to be more expensive to go rebuy the furniture you already had, that you had to go sell for pennies to the dollar. So what is your thought there? Do you get like a backup plan is if we break up, then you have to help fund my furniture purchases because I had to get rid of everything when I moved into your place? Like, what is your guys' thought on this? I'm curious. Let me know in the comments. Let's have a combo.
Yeah, men in the comments saying, fool me once. But the guy says, we don't have to live together. She has her place and I have mine. Somebody else says there should be no common law. If you don't sign the contract, you're not married. The government shouldn't be involved. Somebody else says, I was married to my first girlfriend and trophy wife. She never worked. She cheated and asked for the divorce. In a 50-50 situation, that's a 95% loss. I am not getting married again. I am not getting married again. This is the thing that I think a lot of women don't understand. Nobody is speaking to this. Y'all want men to pay. I want you to do this. I want you to go here. But you don't want to answer his questions and concerns about all of the work that I built. Well, you just worried about money. All of the work that I built. What's that? What's going to happen with that? Well, you just have to take a risk then. Oh, okay. Well, I don't have to do anything and I'm not going to.
The more I thought about it, the more I thought, this is absolutely insane. I saw this video of a guy talking about his type. He seemed like an Asian Pakistani guy. Sometimes I like to watch videos where guys are explaining what their type is in women, and people obviously have different types. I watched this video and he was basically explaining that he would not go for a woman or marry a woman who had moved out before marriage. He really tried to give him some sort of leeway, thinking that it was okay. Really wasn't. But essentially he's saying that he doesn't want a woman that knows about life, well-travelled, knows responsibilities. That video said more about him than anything else. It really shows how much of an insecure guy you have to be not to want a woman that knows about life. Essentially wants a woman that is naive so he can mold her into what he wants her to be. Isn't that just mad to you guys? Instead of actually being better, wanting a boss woman, instead of wanting that, he wants a woman that is very sheltered. I don't know if it's like an ego alpha male thing. It's really not giving a masculine, secure man. It's really not. It was one of those videos where I couldn't stop thinking about it because the more I thought about it, the more I thought, this is absolutely insane. May God keep men like this away from women like us. It's giving jail time. It's also giving you need to work on yourself.
Well, sometimes with this well-traveled stuff and I'm this, I'm that, you go out to have experiences. And when you're traveling, or even if you're in the States, those experiences usually end up being with another dude or multiple dudes. And men just don't want to do it. So it doesn't really matter how much you sell it or what you sell it as. Men, that's not something that men want.
My dad said it seems like young men don't want to get married anymore, and I wanted to ask the internet why that might be. Like, I definitely have ideas of why it might be, but I'd rather hear from real people. It's also interesting that it coincides with that statistic that's been thrown around a lot lately, which is that 40% of women of marriageable age are going to be single by the year 2030. And what's interesting is it's by choice. Like, we're all choosing not to do this anymore. And I know that for a lot of women, myself included, there's a lot of hesitancy because we've been hurt and we're afraid. So I'm curious, what is it from the male perspective? Or do you think all of this is just like a consequence of the culture we live in now with like hookup culture and the internet? I don't know. Let me know what I should tell my dad. Thanks.
Men don't marry their favorite woman. They marry the one they can trust with their peace. And no, that doesn't mean boring. It just means safe in the best way. His favorite woman, she's usually the one who drives him crazy. The drama, the chase, the fight. But long term, he wants the woman who doesn't turn every conversation into argument. Someone who doesn't test, manipulate, or compete. He can come home from a 12-hour day and not feel like he's walking into another battle. And that's what men mean when they say peace. It's not that he wants a quiet, passive woman. He just wants emotional safety. He wants to talk and not defend himself. Because he can get excitement anywhere. But peace, that's rare. So yeah, he'll date the fun one, but he will marry the woman who feel like home and not like homework.
Why aren't men getting married anymore? It's not because they hate love or they're against love. It's because the system is actually stacked against them. In 1960, 72% of adults were married, and today it's barely 50%. And among men under 30, it's pretty much nowhere. Here's why. Divorce courts, they'll take all of the man's money, they'll take the kids, they'll take the house. 90% of child custody goes to women, and men pay millions in child support and alimony every year. Then there's the happy wife, happy life culture where men sacrifice everything to keep the peace. Meanwhile, if a man wants traditional roles, it's labeled as toxic. So men naturally ask themselves, what is the upside? And for a lot of guys, there isn't one. It's not that men in general hate commitment. They hate commitment to a system that is designed to punish them for existing. Till marriage becomes a partnership and not a legal liability, men will continue to keep saying, no thanks. Do you think men are right to walk away from the thought of marriage, or do you think that marriage is still worth it? Let me know in the comments.
Why are so many men refusing to get married? This is an interesting question, and I don't know if men actually are refusing to get married or not, but it could be a few things. It could be that there's misconceptions about what marriage is. We hear a lot about who benefits from marriage. Is there a benefit to marriage? We hear a lot about men who are taken advantage of in the divorce process or feel like they lost something. I also think there's this mindset where you're with someone, but you're wondering if something better is out there. So why would you commit to marriage if you're worried you're gonna miss out on something better? What I would say to women in that situation is if your partner doesn't wanna marry you and you wanna get married, leave, break up. That's gonna end with you guys breaking up anyway. And if you're a single man who never wants to get married, let us know why. We're really curious.
Or he'll be viewed as a simpleton or dolt who needs to be taken care of by his mommy. Put another way, he'll be seen in pretty much the same way as Homer Simpson is by his wife, his friends, his family, and all of society. And no real man wants that. Next, men know that despite a woman's promises, despite her vows to have and to hold, aka be intimate, there's a pretty good chance the exact opposite is going to happen. Estimates are that about a third of all marriages are non-intimate, and I'd bet many more are so infrequent that while they may not qualify as dead, they're barely on life support. And women, of course, love to say that it shouldn't be about sex. Well, ladies, it shouldn't be about money or him being a provider either, yet. And that's the point. Today's women have made it abundantly clear that sex to them isn't about love, intimacy, or caring for one another. It's a business transaction. Something that must be bought or earned, not given freely within a relationship. Heck, they've even gone public with their "it has to be bought and paid for" by bragging about how they deny it if they or their friends think he's only doing the bare minimum. To today's modern women, men's sole reason for existing is to provide for them. And if he ain't providing enough in her mind, well then, he ain't getting the goods. Well, men are seeing those videos, seeing how women are saying those things and basically turning themselves into, well, and men are saying, why should I bother? Why should I commit to one woman only to have her deny me again and again for only doing what she calls the bare minimum when sex is easily available without any commitment? Hell, there's plenty of women out there right now trying to rack up huge body counts because they somehow think it makes them boss bitches. And while men will never want to be in relationships with those women, having a short-term rental more than, shall we say, takes the edge off. Next, men have done the ROI on marriage and relationships and realized the risk isn't worth the reward, or as they more commonly put it, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Marriage used to be a partnership, one where the man and woman came together to build a better life for both themselves and their children. It was a commitment. It was for the long term. It was for life. It was a vow made on the altar to come together as one. Well, today's women, however, have shown it's anything but for them now. Their word, their vows are meaningless. Put another way, they've made it quite clear they're not looking for Mr. Right anymore. They're looking for Mr. Right now. They have no problem with starter marriages or using men to get their needs met now. But if they think something better has come along or will, they'll toss that man aside like yesterday's newspaper. Today's women aren't about commitment. They're about placeholders. They'll buy their time until the man starts providing enough. Then they'll dump him for the next fool they can find to fall for their deception and lies. And in the process, they'll do everything in their power to extract as much wealth from both men as they can. Hell, they've gotten so good at it that many of them...
Imagine signing up for something and paying $50,000 for it, and you're going to lose those benefits 6 months to a year. You know, or let's say you get a couple years out of it. Let's say you get a couple years out of it. $50,000 over a span of 3 to 4 years. It's still not a good investment. Let's say you get 5 years out of it. A $10,000 investment. I'm trying to figure out. So if you spend $50,000 on the wedding, in order for it to be negligible in terms of financial cost, even in 20 years, you're still paying $2,500 for that investment. So you want to see a return. I'd say for me, comfortably, not even 30. Not even 30. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Well, I guess you could. So $2,500 a year would be $208 a month. That's a bill. 208 for a lot of people is a significant bill. That's like a light bill for a lot of people. So if you do that 60, let's do it at 50. 50 over 50. 83. It's okay. I think even still at 83, $83, $84 a month for the next 50 years. I think people can get that type of money. It's just at that point in time, once you start getting to 30, 40 years, 30, 40, 50 years, then your investment becomes something that's negligible and it actually pays off in that regard. Let me get at least 50 years out of it, right? But a lot of times men are getting, 8 years? I think is what the statistic said, somewhere around 8 to 10 years. You're telling me I have to pay $50,000 over the next 8 years. So that's $6,000 a year. Basically, a little over $6,000 at $6,250. Right? And so every month I'm paying $520. Let's round that. No, let's round down. Let's keep it at $520. $520 for the next 8 to 10 years on this investment. Just for that investment to crumble. And then I also lose half. When you start to put the numbers together, for a man, it's just too risky.
Watch this video of my brother Darwin McPherson explaining almost perfectly why men are not marrying American women. Man, watch this.
Why are older men refusing to walk down the aisle? Why are women who have it all still alone? It's not an accident. It's not a phase. It's the consequence of rebellion. Today, you're getting a masterclass. By the end of this video, you'll fully understand why men stop marrying American women and why it's too late to fix it for most of them. When women abandon their feminine nature, they also abandon the very thing that made marriage attractive. Femininity isn't weakness. Femininity is the soft power that inspires leadership, protection, and provision from a man. When you remove femininity, you remove the magnetism that pulls a man into commitment. Modern women were taught to act like a man, compete with a man, and fight men. Now they're confused why men no longer want to marry them. You can't lead a woman who sees you as an opponent. You cannot protect a woman who sees you as competition. When a woman's spirit becomes combative, a man's instinct to cover her dies. Men aren't avoiding marriage because they fear commitment. They're avoiding marriage because they refuse to fight their own wives every day inside their own homes. Submission is no longer seen as an act of love. It's seen as a conditional trade deal. If you make 6 figures, if you buy me bags, if you give me a soft life, then I'll submit. That's not submission, that's extortion. Submission is not earned. Submission is chosen. If a woman waits until she receives everything she wants before respecting a man, she never respected him. She respected the benefits. Men finally figured it out. They finally understood. A woman who needs to be bridled into loyalty will betray you when the gifts stop flowing. You can't have the benefits of marriage without the responsibilities. But that's exactly what modern women are trying to do. They want the ring, the wedding, the Instagram pictures, the honeymoon. But what they don't want is the submission, the service, the sacrifice, the loyalty. You cannot have a strong marriage when one side thinks it's optional to obey God's order. You can't build a home when one partner is committed and the other is entitled. Marriage is not a subscription service. You don't cancel because you're temporarily unhappy. American women destroyed marriage by trying to turn it into a me-first lifestyle. And men? Men left the building the moment they realized marriage no longer made them leaders. It made them sponsors. American culture no longer honors wives. It honors rebellion. Music, media, influencers, all telling women be rebellious, be independent, be boss babes, be sexually liberated. Marriage? That's seen as slavery now. When rebellion becomes a woman's identity, submission becomes her enemy. And no man marries an enemy.
Like you said, check out Darwin. I think he's on YouTube, Darwin McPherson. Check him out. Check him out. Like I said, it's a lot of risks involved. And men, they don't want to go down that road anymore. I really do understand. It's too much money. It's too much time. And most of all, besides the money, it's the heartbreak. A lot of women, oh, I'm mourning what happened and, my life and this and that. And they act like men don't mourn the same way. Or men don't feel the same way, I should say. Just because a man is still up and working doesn't mean that he doesn't understand, he doesn't feel exactly what's going on. And modern women don't really realize that.
Even if he does find a good woman that maybe has the qualities he's looking for, she was going to want him to marry her. And what does he get out of that? Oh, she can leave and take half and take my kid. And she's paid to take my kids away from me. She gets more money if she takes my children. And so from the men's point of view, they're just kind of like, F it, because women aren't wives nowadays. And I just think as women, we have to look at ourselves and say, the benefits we bring nowadays don't outweigh the cost for most men.
And it gets even worse than that, because if you look at the actual statistics, 70 to 90% of divorces are initiated by women. In 90% of those cases, the women get custody of the children. 80% of these women receive child alimony. And on top of that, more than 50% of these divorced women also receive spousal support, which can equate to about 40% of a man's salary. What I'm saying here is not that men should not marry women anymore, or they shouldn't be in relationship with women anymore. What I'm saying is be logical about how you choose a woman. Stop thinking with your dick and start thinking with this head. Find a woman that her values align with yours.
Mostly men saying how they're having to rebuild their life because they had to give so much in this divorce that they didn't see coming. Yep. For one reason or another. Now, that happens so often that it has created the turn off of people wanting to be married, because they're like, if I'm going to be this level of risk is too much for me. I have a client and he now just started a new hedge fund, but when he got divorced, he gave his wife all the money and the house, and he slept in his car for 6 months.
Damn!
And he's just the reason was because I don't want my kid to suffer ever.
Right.
ever. I don't want her to see me argue, and I saw the direction it was going with the wives attorney and all that, and like I was just like, you got it, bro, and left.
Because I know somebody too that they was married for a decade, and when they got divorced because he found out she was cheating on him, so she wanted a divorce to get with a new guy, and then so he lost the house, she got full custody of the kids, and he had to pay child support.
Every single married man I've ever met has said they hate their wife. Do they secretly just say that to like fit in, or do they actually not want to get married?
Well, I've never heard a man tell me he's hated his wife. I've been surrounded by men that's been in marriages for decades, and some that haven't been in it for a decade yet, but are coming up on it. Never have, and so that's pretty telling. That means to say there's probably something about you and the type of men you hang out with, like y'all align with certain types of morals and ethics and whatnot. Because, like I said, I'm 40. I've never heard a man say he hate his wife. So yeah, that's more about you, my guy. Might want to go to a therapist. You might want to take a look in a mirror and say, hey, maybe you should change the people you hang around. Maybe you should change how you are. Maybe there's some things about yourself so you're not around people like that. Because, like I said, I've never heard that ever. No man has ever said that. Yeah. So I don't know, man. Therapy, look in a mirror. You're good.
Me getting married at 43 years old with no kids make no sense whatsoever. So why should I do that? It don't benefit me none. So if I marry a woman, she got kids or whatever, they probably grown or almost grown, and let's say later on down the line she decides to divorce me, take all my stuff or whatever, and I got to basically start over, and or something happened to me or whatever, and she get my insurance money or whatever. I got little cousins and nephews, and I got great nephews that can go towards all my assets or whatever. So why should I get married? I'm basically giving my stuff away. It just gone. That don't make no sense. Why does it keep that wealth and all them assets of my family? So no. Marriage benefit them. It don't benefit us at all.
So now what are you going to be doing? You're going to be renting a room in someone's basement. Pirating someone's Netflix just so you don't kill yourself. I swear, this is the way it actually happens. And this is legal. Like, this isn't even a crime. This is the way they actually have built the system. So that you become this poverty-ridden guy. Like, and there's not even a program for you. Like, there's no one out there trying to help you out financially. Like, you are just completely fucked. And she is living high on the hog, and she's not accountable to anybody for how she spends any of this money. I mean, so she's got, like, really 2/3 to 3/4 of your money every month, and she's living the best life ever. Like, she can have guys coming and going and all day, all the time. She can have a live-in, and hell, even with the child support, even if she has a guy who she marries, let's say she's dumb enough to remarry, you might get out of the alimony there, but the child support, nah, man, that's still getting paid. Yeah, that is still getting paid. Anyway, I'm just pointing out that most guys don't recognize just how huge the financial risk is when you sign on that bottom line. You say, I do. Yeah, you don't know what you're going to be doing, because you're going to be doing a lot of paying, okay? Because at any time after year 10, and she's feeling a little dissatisfied with the way you're behaving, like the hype isn't coming true, like she's not living the big life that she wants, or she's looking on Instagram and someone's doing a lot better than her and a lot better than you, guess what? She's got a second option. She's got a golden parachute, and she can jump from that plane anytime she wants, leaving you in a burning wreckage. Plummeting toward Earth with no parachute. Yeah, that is the harsh reality that we live in today. Now, some of these laws are starting to change, so I'm not going to go, into all the details. But before any man in 2026 says I do, you better go talk to a lawyer. And I am not kidding. It costs you maybe $400 to sit with a lawyer for an hour, hour and a half, and just find out what you're getting into and what your options are and how you might be able to protect yourself. Now, I can guarantee that lawyer is going to recommend that you get a prenup. And that certainly is a reasonable course of action given, the circumstances and what you're up against here. But what that lawyer may not tell you is that a judge in a courtroom can nullify your prenup almost on a whim. I mean, they can come up with a whole slew of possible reasons why your prenup would be invalid. And then you are just ready to get raked over the coals. So even though you might have a prenup, it is not necessarily a guarantee that you are going to avoid all of the potential shortfalls. Like if there's any potential for duress in the signing of that prenup, if she claims that she was being forced into it, then that could nullify it. If circumstances change, that's always a good one. Circumstances change all the time. But if circumstances change, there is a justification that the judge can use to nullify your prenup. So have that in mind. A prenup is not going to necessarily save you. It's not going to be your parachute. No, a prenup, especially if it's written in such a manner that puts her at a financial disadvantage, yeah, you may just find that you have very, very little options. You may just be opening up your bank account. Debu, come back, pal. Debu, come. Debu, come. God dang it. Come on, that's a good boy. Come on. What you doing over there, man? Where are you going? What's happening? That's a good dog. So those are just the financial risks you're up against. Now, the emotional risks are every bit as devastating and just as high. So it is very likely that when you show up there in family court, you're going to get an interesting lesson in civics. Yes, we're going to go back to civics class here. You're going to think, oh, I understand the courts. This is all about Lady Liberty or Lady Justice, and she's going to balance the scales, and she's going to make sure that everything is right and fair for everybody. And yeah, I'm afraid that in a lot of cases, that is not necessarily so. So the financial loss is a gut punch, no question about it. And but you think, okay, I'll just get another job. I'll make more money. I'll find a way through this. You know, you can maybe justify that. But in about 3/4 of the cases, women end up being the primary custodian of the children. Now, there are some states these days where courts are pushing for 50-50 custody. That's their primary objective. Unless one of you is a criminal, it's very likely that there will be a 50-50 agreement. But in a lot of states, they still go by this whole tender years sort of doctrine, which has been invalidated like decades ago. But for some reason, all these old judges, they haven't heard the story that doesn't apply anymore. And in fact, psychologists have shown that parents, by parenting, for men and women, generally about the same. Like women aren't that much better at parenting than men are. So the fact that this tender years doctrine is still a thing is just an example of the kind of...
Somebody here in the comments says, and the children end up paying the price. Another guy says, I got an apartment with a woman for 30 days and it completely ruined my life. Guy says, oh, okay. I see you, sir. I see you, sir. He said, I'm 75 and dating 5 girls in their 20s. Never married. He works out. He's 75 years old. He works out. He's looking good. Another guy says, this is exactly true. Guys, listen, learn, and understand. The judge will hand her everything and leave you destitute. You may or may not be able to recover. Bingo. You may or you may not be able to recover. Who cares? You're a man. You have a strong back. You're supposed to work. But why would I work? I already worked for 20, 30 years. I worked for 20, 30 years. Why would I continue to try to rebuild what I already built? Oh, you're a man. It doesn't matter. Stop whining.
V9 thought of the day. Okay, now, while I still am a huge advocate for marriage, I still think it's very, very risky for men. Now, I'm going to explain why. And ladies, this will probably be the reason why y'all are out there wondering why men don't want to commit. They're looking at the risk factor, and I'm going to explain what the risk factor is. So here's the risks. So let's say, for instance, a man marries a woman. So he marries her. Everything is going great. Everything is going fantastic. Let's say, for instance, he makes a mistake and sleeps with another woman, and his woman finds out and she divorces him. She gets more for leaving. She can literally take half of his assets, take the children and get full custody. Sorry, I'm going to have to block that light. That light is right in the goddamn way. Take the kids and get full custody from you. That's child support payments. On top of all of your resources, all of your assets, she can get alimony too. Now watch this. Let's say, for instance, let's flip the role. Let's say, for instance, a man marries a woman. This is the exact same thing. He marries her, but he does not step out on her, but she does. And she steps out. And on top of that, gets pregnant by the person she stepped out on him with. Not only, and she decides to, let's say she decides to all that shit and decides to leave on top of that. Not only will she also get all the above mentioned items, but he still has to pay child support for a child that ain't his. Interesting, huh? That's why I mean, like, so I gotta take care of somebody else's kid because she chose to be a cheater? Yeah. No incentive on that one. So that's why men are like, oh no, if I want to do this shit, yo. They're like, man, even if I'm a total nice guy, even if I am the perfect husband, and we have seen it all over TikTok where women say, there's even a whole video where a woman say, I don't think it's just good enough for a man to be a good man. Like, well, then what the fuck should he be? But then you go back to the movie Temptation that Tyler Perry made, where Journey Smollett was talking to the Lance Gross dude, and she was like, "You're such a good guy, the good man," but and she goes, "Such a good guy, and hopefully you'll find a good girl someday." But I don't want a good guy. I want a phenomenal one. So we got to be phenomenal now in order for you to stay. It's wild. So y'all are leaving y'all man even if they good. So we can be a whole good man or a whole bad man, but we still got to literally pay the same price. But it's even worse if we're a good man, because if we're good and we get blindsided about a shit, and then you come up, you cheating with another man, and you get pregnant, you come home and pretend the baby is ours, then we go through the whole process. It's just, yeah. Now you ladies see, right? Imagine if you were on this end. Imagine if you ladies were on this end of it. Not the end that you all get, the end that we get. Imagine if you had to endure all this. Be a protector, be a provider, come up with all the plans, make sure it comes to fruition, and you still be a good person, be a good provider, do all this stuff, and your wife still step out on you, and not only that, gets pregnant by someone else. Because the law says, even if she gets pregnant by somebody else, the husband is still obligated to provide for that child. It's not fair to him, but that's the law. That's the law. Imagine that. Imagine if you had to go through that. Would you want to willingly get married? Would you want to? I still think it's a good thing. I still think in the eyes of God, it's a beautiful thing. It's probably the best option for the nuclear family to stay strong. Yes, I totally agree with that one. I'm not going to ever turn my way on that one, but come on. Do the means really justify the ends? Is the juice really worth the squeeze in the modern sense? Yeah, in the traditional sense, it's perfect. But when women are incentivized to break it up and walk away, it don't sound too pleasing. Just saying.
Somebody in the comments say, you know what women are afraid of? Their husband is the person that is most likely going to eliminate them out of anyone. The top cause of death for pregnant women is homicide. The happiest demographics are single women, then married men. The unhappiest demographics are married women, then single men. And I think we've debunked that on this channel, but go ahead. Married men live longer, get more promotions and raises. Opposite for married women. And once again, we've also talked about why that happens. Married men work more. They work longer hours because they have a family to provide for. That's why they get the promotion, because they're always available. The best ability is availability. So he responds and says, amazing enough, most DV in relationships happens from woman to woman. Women are way more violent. The National Coalition Against DV has the number. Women cheat at the same rate men do and are more violent. You know, I think in a lot of these situations, which is, you know, honestly and truly, it just leads to right back to the road of why men don't want to get married. And that's you're running into women and you're around women that don't know how to control their emotions. They don't know how to handle criticism. They don't know how to be a good partner. And then you're not even cute. So there's no incentive for a man to even be there in that situation.